guys, welcome to Synapse Pod emergency episode. We're actually in California right now, San Francisco, recording this. So Paras is here, Ayush is here, and Avinash is here from India. So the main reason why we are recording this emergency episode is because of the fiasco that has happened in the world. Yeah,
it's definitely a global level thing.
About the fiasco to our audience. Tell Paras quickly. Let's go.
So, the fiasco started with this bank called Silicon Valley Bank, which is an old bank. It's not a new bank, and it is one of the biggest banks in USA, which also makes it one of the biggest banks in the world. Of course, it's not the biggest, but it's significant enough to cause a global level volatility if it goes down. So what has now happened is that Silicon Valley Bank's biggest customers were a lot of startups who had raised a lot of funding, had parked their capital into Silicon Valley Bank, who had in turn parked that capital into multiple bonds. Now the Feds kept increasing interest rates, so the value of those bonds kept going down, and recently they issued a press release that we have sold some $25 billion worth of assets at some loss of like $1 billion or so, and they also are in plans to raise more fresh capital. Now the timing of it was just, this press release was just terrible because it clashed with Silvergate's press release of going down. So in a way it got clubbed with that negative news, and a lot of FUD got created. FUD meaning fear, uncertainty and doubt. So all this FUD around SVB, the Silicon Valley Bank, sort of triggered a lot of VCs to tell their portfolio companies to take their money out of Silicon Valley Bank. Now, Silicon Valley Bank, being a normal bank like all other banks, work on fractional reserve banking, which means all the money that is parked into the bank is not really with the bank. It shows in your bank balance, but the money is not really with the bank. They've parked it in multiple places. What that means is if everyone tries to take out the money at the same point of time, there is no money to be handed over to people, right? So now VCs told portfolio companies to take their money out, but SVB didn't have that money, of course. It was just a big trigger. It's like a domino effect that happened. So the regulators took control of Silicon Valley Bank, which further escalated the FUD. Now everything around Silicon Valley Bank was the biggest negative news on the internet for the past 24 to 48 hours, and all the conversations were around Silicon Valley Bank. All the crypto world's narratives were extremely positive that, oh wow, see, another centralized bank has failed, crypto is big, Bitcoin to the moon, Ethereum to the moon, decentralized is the future. Suddenly, this company, Circle, which issues one of the world's biggest stablecoin called USDC, which is just next to USDT, which is the biggest stablecoin. So they told that $3.3 billion worth of reserves out of their $45 billion worth of reserves were in Silicon Valley Bank. Now, all these $45 billion worth of reserves is the peg against the tokens that they have issued, which is USDC. So now that $3.3 billion is in danger. That means the one-to-one peg of US dollar to USDC is now not true anymore. It's not one-to-one anymore. So it led to crash of USDC, and that has just taken the crypto markets also by storm right now. Everyone is trying to move their money out of USDC, which is further pushing down the price of USDC, and it's just mayhem right now.
Yeah. It's like a free fall of more than $10 billion of capital because of the bank going down, because now the reports are coming out that more than $10 billion were there in the bank, and in fact like it's not 3.3 billion, the rest 7 billion were actually hidden. So
no, the news is that,
or they were in other banks.
The news is that 25% of the $45 billion is held with 6 banks. SVB is one of the banks.
Yeah.
Circle has issued that 3.3 was there with SVB, but definitely we don't know how many layers are there under that. I mean, once the report starts coming out, regulator starts getting in, then we'll get to know about the.
Yeah.
Right now, as we talk, the value of one USDC is 0.88 to USD, which means it has already lost 12% of its
12%.
value.
So imagine dollar losing 12% of its value in one day, and I'll just show you this. Like this is the free fall for all our viewers.
Yeah.
So a lot of startups, a lot of companies who actually held their money in USDC, which they thought was government backed, have suddenly been wiped out of a massive chunk of their capital, which is actually safety capital, which is required to build their venture.
Yeah, and
So,
I mean, if you look at the macro level, I think USDC's impact on crypto is high, but USDC's impact on world is much lower compared to Silicon Valley banks going down impact on the world, because they have currently so many reserves of these startups who might not even be able to pay salaries if this goes too long. So that might mean that a lot of startups will go down, and probably these startups who are the ones who are going to push the GDP for a lot of countries, right? Including USA.
No, I want to,
that might be much bigger.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, before we jump onto the impact it has brought to the cryptocurrencies, I would love to bring it back to the SVB specifically. That why specifically startups were or venture capitalist firm, we used to pro with these banks, because again, SVB used to not invest, but used to support private equity investments. A lot of companies used to get public, used to prefer this bank because it would help in revenue-based financing and all those. So it was a favored bank of the venture capitalist firms. Now what has happened is, with recession already looming over, with so many companies already laying off people, it was supposedly that these startups are going to be the savior. And now with another big shock to these startups, this is insane right now. It's literally giving me goosebumps of how many negative things are happening back to back, and the repercussions are even like they are surface level repercussions right now. I do not even know how deeper it's going to get.
Yeah, so I feel it's going to be a nail in the coffin of recession. Like recession was incoming.
Officially recession.
Yeah, recession was incoming. People are predicting, okay, 2023 mid it'll hit on its like biggest wave. I just feel like it's going to be accelerated much faster now.
Yeah.
So hold on to your dear cash and stay put. But Ayush, I wanted to ask you, and we were just discussing this. How would you suggest startups or companies who get funding from crypto VCs, and that funding is in these stable coins? What kind of suggestions would you give for their treasury management for future?
I mean, first of all, not every crypto VC invests in a company in a stable coin. So a lot of people prefer fiat, be it USD, Singapore dollars, wherever jurisdiction your company is in. So a lot of funding happens in fiat, but a lot of ventures like VCs or startups prefer to take funding in stable coin because they already have that. They hold that. If that happens, then definitely treasury management is something that startups can look into. Like instead of, because as we were discussing that all these stable coins are also startups, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they are pegging against reserves and issuing the currency to leverage the blockchain permissionless system, like decentralized permissionless system. So these are startups. So instead of like holding everything in one of the currency, you can peg your, you can manage your treasury in different currencies, which can be a combination of stable coin as well as a long-term investment coin, like a token, like a Bitcoin or Ether. I mean, depending on how much volatility you can take in a short term. So that is more important, because in the past, I would say 8 months or 12 months, within past 1 year, 2 stable coins have been depegged.
And one was an algorithmic stable coin.
One was an algorithmic stable
This was
coin.
a pegged stable coin.
This was a pegged stable coin. 2 coins have been depegged. So last time the question was, is algorithmic better than pegged one, or pegged one is better than algorithmic one? So definitely we don't know.
And I think we recorded this into one of our podcasts as well, where we were discussing it. So all for the viewers who have seen the past episodes, you'll know.
Correct. So the answer is we don't know. Right. So it's better to be safe than sorry. And even in the case of banks, even if you're getting the funding in fiat, it's better not to keep your funds in one bank, right? It's better to have your funds in different banks and definitely not in one neobank. It's neobank is basically a cloud bank, which is taking leverage of all the new age technology that is happening instead of having a physical branch out there. So for treasury management, it's not a easy thing to do. It's not a very simple thing. So it's better to take help from experts and have your treasury managed properly for a long term.
Yeah.
No, but I would like to also bring into the notice of our viewers that basically, since it's a reserve bank, but as a Federal Reserve Bank, there is an insurance thing also that kicks in, that all the deposit money is insured. I think the organization is called Federal Reserve Insurance something, and but of course it's gonna take time. It's not gonna get resolved in a matter of even days or months. It might go on for an year. So that is the most troublesome thing, that this bank has already lent out money also to a lot of startups. It's not just that that one side thing, and so how things unravel is insane. And this is supposedly the second biggest fall after 2008. So
For a bank, yes.
Yeah,
for a
correct.
bank,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And somehow I feel every centralized entity is the bigger culprit in this whole fiasco. You look at SVB, which triggered everything. Now we just saw that on Coinbase, you cannot convert USDC to USD anymore.
Oh, they stopped that.
Just stop that.
Yeah.
So even if your USDC was in your own custody, so even if your USDC was in your on blockchain in your own custody, you could have still swapped it at some loss.
Yeah.
With another token, be it Ethereum, Bitcoin, or USDT. Now, people who held this stablecoin USDC inside a centralized exchange like Coinbase, they are not even able to do that.
Yeah.
Which essentially means no one owns their own money.
Imagine.
Just gets crazier.
Also, how can they stop it? That's insane. Just
So
because of liquidity, they cannot stop it. They would essentially have to arrange liquidity.
You know why they stop it, by the way?
It's exactly what bank was going to work, right?
Because even Coinbase doesn't have the full USDC
Exactly.
USDC deposited on them.
Yeah.
So they have themselves parked money somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's exactly like a bank. Coinbase is exactly like a bank. The reason why SVB is failing is exactly what Coinbase would also fail to deliver, because at once everyone is asking to take their money out. And it's not just that bank, any bank in the world. If there is a FUD around it, it's just that people have a bigger belief system that the government is going to step in and going to save it all. That still hold the people ground. Otherwise, and nobody can be immune to this, to be honest.
Very fundamentally, this whole system is fucked, and the only way is decentralization.
No, I mean, see, in bullish times, bullish time, what does fractional reserve bank do good to society? Okay, allows credit, allows people to earn interest,
allows over leverage, but over leverage can lead to overgrowth, but it's not sustainable.
But that's the way bank make money in the first place.
That's why the business of making money from money is really not money. I feel the real business is making money from creating value.
Not true, Chirag. They are making value by they are employing so many people. They're gonna employ a service at your mobile end.
Think about humanity on a very fundamental level, right? How can over leveraging credit create real value for humans instead of where it suddenly gets wiped out?
No, credit given to a company.
Yeah.
That company creates value, right? So in a way, the credit also creates value.
Of course, but
exactly. I think that's you're missing on that point, but
it also takes away a lot of capital suddenly, which takes away a lot of life. So ultimately, it's like the trolley problem. If you guys know about the trolley problem. So the trolley problem is that you are in a trolley. There are 4 humans on the right side, 1 human on the left side. Given no information, who would you kill? And suddenly, then after a second stage, you get information that one human is a criminal. So suddenly, will it change your perception to kill that single human? So yeah. So probably. So essentially, I feel it's very there's no right answer to it.
So right now, just got a tweet from CEO of Y Combinator, Gary Tan. So as per him, this event is like an extinction level event for startups.
Yeah.
SVB going down. So I mean, it's gonna, as per him, it might lead to innovations and a lot of things going back 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because if startups go down, a lot of them go down, then LPs pull back the money. VCs don't have any more money to deploy. And then if no startups, less innovation.
Yeah, but it's the cool guys, best time for real estate and gold.
Please, Gacharaj, this podcast is not meant to recommend any financial.
Yeah, all this is NFA, but yeah, I think we should conclude this emergency podcast and back to saving our capital.
Stay safe.
But it's an extremely sad day for sure. It's extremely sad day.
Yeah. But stay safe, guys. Hold on to your dear cash and let's ride out this storm.
Yeah.
And I hope SVB makes a comeback. It still can. It's not officially down. Like regulators have taken control. It's not officially down. Hope it comes back. USDC comes back up. All goes back to normal. Odds are less.
No, definitely. They were raising. So they were raising $2.6 billion, and they might be managing more than 100 billion. So bailing them out maybe 2 to 5%. If I can make in a very simple terms, a small new influx of cash can save them. Like government did that during COVID, right?
No, not really.
Not really.
I'll tell you why. Because they had parked $80 billion into these bonds, which have a lock-in of 10 years. Now, people who have put in these $80 billion inside these banks, if they are all asking for the money back, then SVB either gets acquired by a company and shifts all reserves, and then that happens. A bigger company that can absorb $80 billion worth of deposits for 10 years and has $80 billion spare to return back to everyone who wants it back.
Yeah.
Apart from that, SVB by itself, right now, it seems very tough that they can just. It's not just about writing off a few.
Also, guys,
if that $80 billion thing happens, then it's most likely a bankruptcy.
Also, guys,
it is a bankruptcy in that sense.
No, but you guys have to realize that it may not even be very important for the government to bail it out, because back in 2008, the government fucked up big time. This is a private player fucking up. That 2008 bailout was $700 billion. This is chump change in front of that. So, but its effect on startups is huge. So you have to look at things from a very macro perspective.
Why the government fucked up? Even they were also like
the
banks.
The banks fucked up. The banks fucked up, but the government was allowing subprime loans and all also. Without a regulatory authority trying to check on the banks.
Again, that was
that was the banks.
The Federal Reserve never checked on the banks as well. What kind of loans they were issuing out. So essentially going back to that, but I feel this is a extension level event, yes,
for startups.
So for startups, which may be literally.
Government's job is to check quality of debt given by banks. The quality of debt was not bad until it turned very bad in 2008. So
it was masked. It was masked.
It was just banks being over optimistic on real estate.
So there may also be a chance that government doesn't bail out.
See, this might be totally. It's not totally unrelated, but I just want to understand from you guys that when the Yes Bank thing happened in India, when people lost confidence, the investor lost confidence on Yes Bank because of their high NPAs and all. At that time also, Yes Bank did put a pause on the amount of money you can take out from the bank, right? And then again, RBI stepped in, but how did they manage that? How did if you guys know about it, that how did the people who had money in that bank, were they able to transact or were they faced an issue? Because I have not heard any reports of Yes Bank failure made any big repercussions on employment or anything else. So do you guys know about that?
I mean, from what I know are two things. A, RBI is very strictly controlling banks in India. So RBI is always there to ultimately save people's ass. Even that bank which got acquired by PhonePe, I completely forgot the name of the bank because it's not very big in North India. But so when PhonePe acquired that bank, it was ensured that everyone gets the deposits. course, government had a role to bail out. Government must have given to RBI, who must have given to banks. So RBI in general has very, very strong control over banks in India. It's some next level control actually. Other thing about Yes Bank's problem was wrong reporting. Here the problem is not wrong reporting. It's a combination of mismanagement and FUD and horrible timing of press release. So they are not reporting it wrong. There is no malice here. There was malice there. So despite that everyone got
was a scam.
But still,
a catastrophe.
But still, people would have rushed to bank to get their money out, right?
They didn't get it. Yeah. That time, eventually, yes.
So that's safe, right? In this case, also there is a rush to get your money out of SVB. So if that was managed here in India, why could it not manage it over there? I just want to.
It had a lot of things. A follow-on public offering was made. FPO was made at $11 rupees a share. And then there was a lock-in. Then they managed to pull in those investors. The FPO pulled through.
That's true.
So that fundraise also happened, which I'm 100% sure there were some assurances given by government or RBI outside of.
SBI took it over. SBI put it in.
SBI did a big part of that fundraise. So fundraise happened, then things came back to normal.
Interesting. A lot of work to be done by the management of SVB right now, for sure.
Yep.
I don't think they can do anything. It's out of their hands.
It's out of their
Now it's out of their hands.
Regulators have taken.
Oh,
but it's crazy. It gets out of their hands in 48 hours.
In just
48 hours.
Welcome
to mayhem in 48 hours.
Welcome to the new world.
The world was normal 48 hours.
See, the connected world has their own problems, right? Things sprint faster.
It's just a super.
I mean that's what we were discussing a while back, that USDT depegging happened in 2019, and not a lot of people knew about it. It happened, went on for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens to USDC. Is it gonna bounce back in next 2 weeks or a month, or it's gonna go down?
I think most probably USDC will
stabilize.
They just have to cover up for this $3.3 billion loss in some way.
Yeah.
Probably they'll liquidate equity and get this infusion, buy back all the USDC from the market or something like that to get it
Whatever
back.
it is. Yeah.
I'm like, why everything is happening all sequentially like this? This is so weird. The timing.
I just feel that this is a $3.3 billion lesson.
Sorry?
$100 billion, $80 billion.
Yeah, $80 billion lesson to be learned by all of us. Cool.
Okay, guys.
Slept for 4 hours and so much happened.
And Asia has just woken up, so all the best, Asia. Cool.
It's a weekend. It's also a weekend.
It's a weekend. Let's go.
That's a great weekend. Cool, guys. We'll wrap this up. Thank you so much. Thank you, Avinash, for joining from India. And thank you.
I'll soon join you guys in California too.
Done. Looking forward. See you, boss. Bye.
Bye-bye.